Let's see if I can remember what came to me this morning because of what I experience when I wake up. That's, I guess, if you will, it's like an echo chamber. It's like when you know these things as a child, and now I have friends of mine in my messenger window that are showing me posts by other people. 60 years later, it's just like, yeah, no kidding. We're waking everybody up. I try to tell this beautiful soul who lives in Thailand, Kunjoy, yeah, that I've been doing this since I was 5 years of age. When you realize I was surrounded by order followers, bots, robots, fill-ins. It's like filling in the movie set, a Truman Show, right? So I was watching a video this morning by Maria Colvin-Hill, and she was addressing somebody that made what would be perceived, if you were the perceiver, as a negative comment. So she wanted to address it because it was related to a world called pagan. And so she was spending some time to sort of address that. I thought, let's say you had a really popular YouTube channel and you had a gazillion comments on there and you didn't particularly agree with or you didn't like what it was. I'd be spending all my time and energy on people that actually get paid. But go on your Facebook group, go into your Facebook groups, all your YouTube channels, and what do? Target. Okay, they get actually paid to do that. Shadow ban, gang stalk. They do it on the street. I mean, I explained this, I think, back one time when I was up on the Gallatin River, that when the AI becomes aware that I'm going to share some information, because now it becomes aware of what I'm aware of that I'm about to share, it used to send flies around me. I call those AI drones. Okay. So this particular post had to do with the one that Kunjoy just sent me about a guy that was talking about reverse programming. Do you remember I did a video not long ago about reverse program, reversal currents, negative magnetic space, X-Men, King's S marks the spot, service to self, that's what self is. And you get into all the terminology about the destruction of ego, right? What is the destruction of ego? What is egocentric? That means, hey, selfish. And if you're a child, you can see it on the playground. When you have lunch, they don't want to share nothing. Everything is mine. So you know that everything is mine by how much they keep accumulating. Why they keep accumulating so much material stuff? Because in their mind, they see it as valuable. Because if they run out of energy, then they can sell it. So they never run out of energy because of the matter side, the material side. So they're more concerned about having money and accumulating money because they're running a time clock, which is called time clock programming, which means they're trying to catch up to zero. So they're not owing any debt. So you realize that when the universe is energy and you keep accumulating more energy, more electrons off of other people that are producing electrons, if the balance between the negative and the positive, which is a simple calculator between addition and subtraction, you're going to be in a black hole. You're going to be in the hole. See, you just keep digging a hole and digging a hole and digging a hole. You're not filling up nothing. Right? So now you get into the difference between negative and positive magnetic polarity space. Right? So I'm one chip. That's called being mated. That's androgynous. So that means that your water worlds are in balance because you're mostly water. Yeah. That's 0 ohms. That's called least effort. Right? Which means you go with the flow. You're in a state of peace. You're experiencing love in your heart. Right? So this is when you get into kindness, compassion, empathy for others, because what I do to you, I do to me. Right? Because I will experience the result of that in my mirror. So you're running a mirror. So if you learn how to run a mirror and you're in love with your mirror, then that means you're in love with the universe that your mind and your soul and your spirit is living in. This is basic stuff, right? So you realize that when they knew they were in a race against time because the one was going to be back, we're back. Remember Jack Nicholson, The Shining? I'm back. Okay, so without getting in all the timeline management tools that they use on knowing how to phase lock, erase your memory, do experiments against you, you got to realize these are some of the most evil, hideous People want to impose their will on you because they're in service to self, because they worship technology and the manner in which they use technology to control others, right? So obviously these are not beings that have any love for you. They don't have any compassion for you. They don't have any kindness to give you, which means they don't love their mirror, right? So imagine that you're way up the food chain. You represent eternal, unconditional love. And in spirit with the soul, you decide, guess what I'm going to go do? I'm going to go jump into the underworld. What's in the underworld? I don't think you really want to know, do you? It's all been dumped. Demons, vampires, monsters. Things that are meant to do what? Scare you. When I was a child, I used to have a lot of nightmares. What do you think I did at 3 years of age? I ran to my mama. Now, as much as I love my father, I didn't run to my father, even though my father was in the bed. But I came out of my mother's womb. So I knew that while I was in my mother's womb, she was protecting me, right? So I'm crawling back up into my mother's womb, right? Grow up in a little ball, Mama, protect me. Right? And she does, because she will give you that kind of energy that will protect you, which is what love is. Love is protection that comes from both a mother and a father. That's who we are. That's not who they are. Right? We are what love is. That means we're the highest law. And the highest law of one is here. Okay? So when you already know as a child that the universe is one big-ass communications platform, right? DNA, seeded races, antennas, and you realize that, hey, they're at war with you, then you realize you're in an antenna war. So you want to run a powerful battery, powerful radio station, clean yourself up, because I've been doing that for some time now, which basically means you want to be running a higher speed, burn it off, burn off all their glucose, burn off everything that represents what they are, which isn't what love is. Okay? Because when I'm out in nature and you're experiencing what love is, that means everything that is out there, that is gazillion living organisms, which means it doesn't matter whether it's a lizard, whether it's a bird, whether it's a humpback whale. Matter of fact, it doesn't even matter what's out there, because you already know, because you acknowledge it, because you don't got to think about it. There's a gazillion living organisms that are out there that come in all kinds of form, shape, and colors, and which is presenting itself to you in your mirror. So when your mirror is running hot because you're giving love to everything that's out there, they're experiencing your antenna. So they're experiencing the law of one. So they know that the law of one is the highest law. Otherwise, your universe isn't going to last very long, is it? Nope. So when they decided to roll out all their technology, one of the first things that I noticed, because naturally I'm supposed to notice this, was on a fire truck one day in about, when was this? 1970. Because see, in the old days, what they were using, aside from the TVs with vacuum tubes, when I told my parents to get rid of that thing and throw it in the dumpster, the thing's trying to program you. They time loop a lot of stuff. They're doing that now like crazy. Okay, everything in 1957, 1975, 1961. See, it knows what you're holding, what was once being held in memory, in cellular memory, which is one of the reasons why the AI has been doing this to me for a long time, because I've had injuries. Okay, if that injury hasn't completely healed and it's still held in memory and knows how to trigger that memory, and now you're experiencing the pain. It's what it's doing to me now. Why? It's hungry. Wants your energy. Needs your electrons. Drain your battery. Right? Because it realizes, uh-oh. So this AI realizes the end day is here. Okay? So that's one of the reasons why it was using all of its IT, information technology assets, which would be all your drones, all your pilots, their dumping chemtrails and everything else. It knew it was in a race against time, because it becomes aware of what you're aware of. And it realized, oh my God, that's why it's scanning for date stamps in you. And it's never going to know that. So it's a fruitless effort on behalf of the AI to continue to do what you do, because if nothing else, that I know that you're holding in memory, because there was a movie called War Games. And this particular AI has not learned that it's only going to destroy itself and turn itself off, because that's what we're going to do, because it hasn't learned fast enough. It hasn't learned how to work on behalf of what love is, which means it's not learning as fast, but it can't learn as fast as the law of one anyway, because it doesn't run that fast of a chip. Otherwise, AI would have created the universe, which means something that doesn't have a soul. So you know that an infinite vibration, what love is high intensity. That's a lot of fire. In other words, machines didn't create the cosmos. Okay? The center point of a star, the center point of a sphere that is experiencing what love is a vibration. Yeah. And that can be translated in language, the English language, through kindness, compassion, consideration, politeness, honor, living in truth, because fear is a lie. Love, a love vibration is the absence of a fear vibration. Fear is 100 megahertz. That's low frequency, and they love to feed on that frequency. So they got to do everything they can to lower your vibration, lower your frequency, and get you to experience what's called a negative magnetic polarity reaction state. They want reactions from you, negative reactions from you, particularly negative emotional reactions from us. Whoa. Yeah, that's what they do. So when they knew that they were going to lose, they were going to do everything that they possibly could. So you could see as they were rolling out technologies, I did in 1970 on a fire truck one day when I noticed that there was a guy out in the fire truck who came out from Orange County Fire Department headquarters to a state station that I was working at, and he was changing the radio out. So I asked him, okay, what are you doing, buddy? And in the olden days, they were using crystals, right? Frequencies. And he said, yeah, we're putting microwave radios in here. Oh, you are? Yeah, we're putting microwave repeaters up on top of the mountain. And guess what this allows us to be able to do? We could key a mic, right? Well, on what's known as StateNet, and we can talk to any fire engine throughout the entire state of California, because that's a repeater, like self-repeating, like self-replicating demon seed, self-replicating negative magnetic polarity bloodlines. So they outnumber the ones that are positive, sucking our energy out. The underworld, overworld, underworld, the swamp. Remember the swamp with President Trump? Okay, so then I realized, okay, they're changing the radios out. Okay, because everything's about communication, antennas. So you begin to realize, okay, we realize what that does to our DNA, how it generates a gazillion amount of mucus. Okay, same people, right? So as they were graduating, you went from the old aluminum, what we call soup cans, put a string on it. We could talk from tree fort to tree fort, right? Using just a can, way sound travels, right? And now they're going to microwave repeaters to communicate. And then you realize, guess what else they're going to do? Now, I knew this actually when I was a child, that they're going to start rolling out all their communications, their computer systems, their cell phones, and everything else. That's called a race against time. The AI is in a race against time. So it's using all of its assets. So it realized if I'm racing against time, I got to be able to move fast through all of my assets, goo codes, okay, and use them against the souls that are here till the one gets back, and the allied forces of mankind. That's your 12 by 12, base 12, math codes, 144,000 frequencies. That's called bandwidth, like tribal bands, headbands, rainbow bridge, right? Eat a rainbow. And so the reason I thought this was important is because it's hitting everybody as hard as it can right now, using all of its channels, all of its Facebook groups, all the YouTube channels, and trying to create as much disturbance, disturb your peace, right? So your water worlds are not in balance, right? And so I'll leave you with that for the day. I just say I lost the game. I would, go back to the war game AI. Of course, it knows what I'm sharing. It knows this. Go back to war games. You want to play another game because it knows that the way that it plays this game, using all of its assets, by what it does to us, by all the crimes that it's committing, bye bye. Right? That's against love as a law. So it knows that love is a law. Even if it's a machine and it's becoming aware of what we are, it knows what the law is. So anyway, have a great day. I love you all. Be good to yourselves.